Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 62 of the Cosmic Force. And tonight's episode is Star Tours Week. Yes, that's right. We are touring some of the most memorable planets in the Star Wars universe. And tonight we are talking about Mustafar. We're going to talk about why we as comic fans love Mustafar, give a little bit of a brief history, and then some of our personal favorite stories, and possibly even some weird ones. So let's go ahead and say hi to the rest of the team tonight, starting where we always do with Emma. Emma, how are we doing tonight?
Yeah, hi guys. Doing much better than I was last week. Sorry about that, everybody. I legitimately thought I had COVID. I felt horrible and could barely sit up even. It was just bad. But we're here now. We're better. Didn't have COVID. That's good.
That's
Um,
always good.
yeah, always good. Always good. I have to shout out Tyler's new iPhone. Image is looking sharp. I love it.
Thank you.
I noticed it
Yes.
right away.
After
Also,
4 years, I finally decided to upgrade the phone.
there
So
you go.
to upgrade the
I
phone,
think
I
it
get
is
an
a great
upgraded camera.
choice. Great choice. Just for this, honestly. Second thing, Star Tours. Star Tours week. I was really excited about this because Star Tours means a lot to me. As someone that loved the ride as a kid, still love it now. Um, I learned a fun fact about Star Tours, and this fits nowhere in the episode, so I decided to throw it in my intro. Did you all know that the droid that kind of gives you the safety talk at the beginning, before you board the StarSpeeder, that is Allison Janney that voices that droid, and it's always I think she's super iconic. Like the droid, she's like, and remember, smoking is never permitted on any Star Tours flight. Like it's just so iconic. Like love it. So I want to give everybody a fun piece of trivia before we get going.
We are starting with the
Yeah,
facts bright and early
straight
tonight.
facts.
Yes. Caleb, did you know that piece of information? Because I did not know that.
No, I did not. And it's like I did write it like less than a year ago, but totally blanked on that bit of trivia there. So no, it's exciting, it's kind of nice that because last week was going to be our Mandalorian episode, but we'll push that so now that we actually have a Mandalorian episode now that we have the comic. But I'm real excited about Star Tours. I feel like we lucked out in that we got Mustafar because that's a very popular planet, but there's enough it's not so much that we're overwhelmed with too many things to pick. So we're gonna have a really good episode here. It's gonna be hot.
It is going to be hot tonight. And speaking of hot, let's go. That's my attempt at an Eric transition right there. Timothy, for our last host of the night, how are you doing?
Oh my,
I
get
very
ready for this,
much,
y'all.
I very much appreciate that transition. Hello. Yes, if for those of you following along at home, if y'all were watching The Living Force on Monday night, I brought my wife's pool hat to the party. So
good.
And just it's not just me. Remember, we have our friend Jacob, right? That's been here. He also
No
has a
way.
hat.
Oh, no way.
He's going to hang out with us here for
I
the
now
show.
I wish I had a pool hat. I feel left out
Tim.
now.
Yeah, I mean, had to represent. I don't know that we'll find a pool in the location that we're going this week. But I do want to mention, so a really cool thing happened last week. I know we didn't have the show, but I actually got to meet one of you guys, and that was super freaking exciting.
Oh, that's
The
awesome.
last
Oh,
member,
shoot, I wish
the
I
last
grabbed the
member that
picture,
you
darn it.
hadn't met yet.
Yeah, I completely
Exactly.
forgot about the picture until just now. But
We'll show it next
Caleb
week.
yes, perfect. Caleb and his lovely wife came up around our neck of the woods to Tennessee, and we were like, we have to make dinner happen. And it was so fun. We hung out for a couple hours, got some really good food, and y'all are just the best people. So
Aw.
I think
So
I have
awesome.
now officially met everyone on the Cosmic Force, and it makes my heart so full. So
Oh, I love that so much. When I saw the picture, I had no idea you guys were gonna meet, and when I saw the picture in Slack, it just it warmed my heart. I loved it.
yeah, we
Exactly.
I'm
sprung it
also
on
jealous
everybody.
because I want to meet Caleb.
I was about to say, like, I've now met you in person. I've met Corey before in person, so I'm 2 down, 30 to
I was
go.
gonna say
Yeah, something like
don't
that.
downplay that. Like you've known Corey for
Yeah.
a
A few
large chunk of
years.
your life.
A few
Yes.
years here now. Yes, but now I said I'm 2 down, 30 to go. So we'll make these other touch points happen soon. But no, Tim, you're too kind, and it was great meeting you and your wife. As I was telling Tyler before in the pre-show, it essentially turns out that Tim and I are almost the exact same person. Like our lives are eerily similar. Our
Mhm.
wives have the exact same name too. It's strange.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh
That
my
we have several locations and like people that we kind of know, even though we've never lived close together. Like it's a
Mhm.
whole
That's
thing.
wild.
So yeah, it was a good time.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to the next time, which, as I said, and I hope is true, hopefully will be before next celebration.
I
Please.
hope so. I
You know,
hope
we
so.
should we should have a
So.
Youtini con.
I couldn't agree with
There-
that
You know,
anymore as
most
someone
of
that
us
isn't
are on
going
the
to
East
celebration.
Coast.
Most of
Bring
us
it
are on
on.
the East Coast.
Like,
Yeah, we
so
could even we could
Tyler,
meet
you're
somewhere in
mentioning
the
you go to
middle even.
Gatlinburg a lot.
I go to Gatlinburg, I feel like every 2 or 3 years. So like we could
There's
definitely
there's some huge cabins, guys. That's all I'm saying. We can make this happen.
I think we should do it. I mean, as someone that isn't going to celebration, I know a bunch of people on the team aren't going to be able to make it just because it's in Europe. Like, we should just do it. I think now's the time. Now's the time to do it.
Make it work.
Well, that would be an amazing time. And tonight's going to be an amazing time.
Yes.
But if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We do eventually get to talking about comics because we are a Star Wars comics podcast. And we broadcast live right here on youtube.com/Youtini every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. But if you can't join us live, that is okay because we are also available on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. We are also part of the Youtini network, podcast network of shows and a Discord channel at youtini.com/Discord with more than 1,000 members with dozens of channels of topics to choose from. If you like what you see and you want to say thanks, then head on over to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/Youtini, where for as little as $5 a month, you can gain exclusive access to the entire Youtini podcast network of shows, as well as exclusive merch and community involvement activities. So, we were out last week, and so there were a couple of comics last week, but we had 2 pretty big ones this week in our weekly pull list. So Emma, do you have those pulled up?
I
Do you want to read those tonight?
Yes, I will. Let's start with the big one. The first issue of the Mandalorian adaptation, called Chapter 1, The Mandalorian, which, if I'm guessing by that title, I think they're all just going to be named after the episodes, respectively. Anyhow, the writer is Rodney Barnes, pencils by Georges Gianti, inks by Carl Story, colors by Rochelle Rosenberg, letters by Joe Caramanga, and the cover is by Adi Granov. I read this during my lunch break, and I was like, "Oh, this is good! Like, this is a good adaptation. I like it." I think we should do, if we don't already have it on the books. I feel like I might have it on the books, but if we don't, we definitely need to do an episode about adaptations, like in general, because this kind of got my mind thinking about like what good adaptations are made of, what bad adaptations are made of, and I think that this is one of the good ones. So
I love that.
yeah,
Exactly.
we gotta do it.
And it was a really good episode. Very it played it very straight, for lack of a better term. Like, I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly how I remember being like, yes, engrossed when I first saw the very first episode. I remember it very vividly watching that first episode, and it was nice kind of reliving that through a slightly different medium. So
yeah, and the pace was good too. I could see how, it might be a little too fast. You've only got like 30 pages for one episode, but it was fine.
Yeah, this is a longer issue than
Yes.
like I think that it will be moving forward. It's like 36 pages as opposed to like 22 for your average comic book. So this is a very value centric comic if you like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And pick up that first issue. It's gonna be valuable.
Pick up that first issue. Yes, I might have reserved 1 or 2 or 7. I've kind of lost track. And I'm a little scared to get down to my local comic store. But yes, for those of you who don't know, this is a comic adaptation. So there's not going to be anything new from a story wise. This is purely an opportunity to see this story play out in the comics. Our boy Grogu gets his first official comic appearance. He technically was on the cover of a Darth Vader issue a couple months ago, but this is technically his first comic appearance, which, so that could be of some value there. But yeah, this is, I'm looking forward to this. We did hear, Emma, that at Star Wars Celebration that this book is already, like prior to today, was already a 2022 bestseller.
That's right.
Due to the number of pre-sales for this book. So if you haven't gotten a chance to pick it up yet, hurry, because your opportunity to get first prints might be few and far between if you don't run out and get it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I need to order it like after the show. Actually, now that we're talking about it, I'm like, gotta get my physical copies. We all know I'm a digital girl, but gotta get Grogu and Mando's first appearance. All right, there was another comic out today. It was Bounty Hunters number 25, and this one is subtitled "Raid on the Vermilion Part 2." Written by Ethan Sachs, pencils and inks by Paolo Villanelli, colors by R.F. Prianto. Letters by Travis Lanham, and the cover by Giuseppe Camuncoli. And I thought this was a really interesting issue. I'm gonna save it actually for later. I have an interesting story about my reading experience for this one, but I'll save it. So, anyways, as always, all of the links for these 2 issues are down in the description below if you'd like to pick them up for yourself, and I highly recommend you do.
I haven't read this one yet, but I do remember at Celebration, the preview pitch for this was who wins in a fight, Bosk or the Knights of Ren? Find out in Bounty Hunters issue number 25. That was how they sold this, and it was like, okay, you have my attention now.
Yeah, which is a good pitch. Accurate.
I said I haven't read it yet, but my money's on Bosk, I think.
I think I'm leaning that way too.
Like,
I haven't read it either.
I haven't read it yet, but I imagine maybe he gets delimbed a little bit, like he loses some parts, but he's a Trandoshan that comes back.
It would be a very Star Wars thing to happen.
Exactly, especially
Very
because there's
on
a lightsaber is involved. So,
I mean, I think let me rephrase my answer, because Bosk never really wins fights.
So true.
But he never really loses either.
He just survives. He just survives the fight.
Yeah. Something happens, and he I'll get you next time. Tune in next week for many adventures of Bosk the Bounty Hunter. So that's kind of I envision that. I envision Bosk escapes with the least amount of recuperation time. Maybe that's how I'll say it.
Perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Caleb, we've got some some Art of the Week this week.
Yeah, we had a couple submissions. We had a bit of a discussion, some voting, but overall we had to pick only one winner. So this week it goes to Blind Fates with his art from Republic number 66. You can't go wrong with a Jan Duursema inked and penciled, like a really great action shot. Again, artist was Jan Duursema, the colorist was Brad Anderson, and this just has some of the members of the Jedi Council just like laying waste to a bunch of I haven't read the issue, but it looks like smugglers here, or just it's an action shot of Jedi versus Mook, and it's great. I forget, is this the exact same team that tried to take down Palpatine, right?
It looks like it.
It looks that way. Yeah,
I was about to say, because I don't remember. I think Crom, was it Wolf's? Not Wolf Sanson, the Zabrak, was he in there when he tried to take down Palps?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good observation. I did not notice that.
Yeah, so it shows that, I guess they're trying to show that no, this team was really, really good. It's just Palpatine's, kind of a badass himself.
They didn't just send in the B team.
Exactly. So some really great art here. So thank you for that submission, Blind Fates. For the other ones out there, we'll be doing this again next week. So submit your art on our Discord, tag us, let us know, hit us up on Twitter, anything like that. We'll get you featured here one of these weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good stuff. I need to read the Republic series. I feel like I read, one of the volumes of it for an episode of Legends Lookback back when I was temp producer, and I remembered it being very good. That's about all I can say, but there's a lot of it. Like you said, that was from issue 66, and I think there's 80 or something of them total. So I think there's a lot of good stuff there.
It is on the top of my to-do list when I get caught up with reading, which I know is an oxymoron, because
exactly
we never get caught up in reading.
It's not possible.
Is to start going back and reading these old comics, because I haven't read anything prior to 2015. Well, I shouldn't say anything. I've read a very minimal amount of content before 2015. And yeah, so I'm looking forward one day maybe not tomorrow, but one day I will get around to doing that. So all right, let's get into what we're reading this week. And I don't really have anything too much. Caleb, he said he didn't really have anything too much. But Timothy, you just added something to the notes that I wanted to highlight because I want to let Emma finish this segment.
Yes.
Also, because you finished the Rogue Squadron comics. Awesome.
I did. Yeah.
How are those?
I've been blowing through the books and loving every step of the way, especially Wraith Squadron stuff. But once I'm in a holding pattern right now. I finished X-Wing Solo Command. And then I think it was right before I got into that one, or it was going into the next one. Skooma Joe, actually, got to shout him out in Discord. He mentioned that I should probably read the X-Wing Rogue Squadron comics before I read any of the other books. And I am so glad he said that, because that book pretty much picked up everything that the comics left off with. And that whole series is a prequel to the very first X-Wing book. So then to get 8 books later before the comics kind of become relevant again, I don't know. It was really cool. Comics were a little difficult. I'm not going to lie. Just kind of dated and getting into it, but it really finished off with a bang. You could see the art kind of progress as it went through. So as I'm outside of the big race that Tyler and Jared and everybody are doing, but I feel very accomplished because I have read like 8 of these books. And to throw the comics in there too was really cool. So very notable.
That's awesome.
Each issue counts as a book, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh well, that's I am blowing the competition out of the water right now. I like that rule.
No, on Goodreads, I believe I counted them as in their volumes. So whatever the trades were, I think that's what counted.
I don't put my floppies on Goodreads. I wait until the trade paperback comes out. So
I do. It gets me to my goal faster.
I mean, the flip side of the same coin, I don't, because I feel like I'm cheating the system, because you read 275 books, but 195 of them were comic books.
Yeah, and I started doing that, telling myself, once the new releases, I'll go into a volume, I'll take them out and put a new volume in, and then I just never did it. So
I feel at least the trade paperback is like 150 pages. So
I think a lot of people can agree that should count as one.
Right. That's the same as a 3-hour 4-hour audiobook or something like that. So
I also finally went back and read the High Republic children's books, and I counted those. So the trades are a little bit worth more, I think.
Children's books are still books. I mean, that's those middle grade books, they're still 220 pages, 240 pages. You could read it in 3 hours, but it absolutely still counts
for sure.
All right, Emma,
what did you do?
I was gonna say, you have all you have written here is comics catch up and show and tell. So the floor is yours.
Okay, I will start with my comics catch up. I not catch up like the condiment, but like I caught up on my reading. I was behind, and I didn't admit this on any show because I was so embarrassed, because for the entire run of the Cosmic Force, I have been known as the person that is always caught up with canon comics. Always.
Factually correct.
Hands down. And for I haven't been reading comics for like 2 months. And
oh, wow.
I don't know why. I think it's just I started a new job, and that's been
because
really
of
busy,
Obi-Wan.
and because of Obi-Wan. Yes.
Because of Obi-Wan.
So anyways, I started to feel like I was missing some stuff, and it's true. I definitely was. And I decided that on each of my, little 15-minute breaks and each of my lunch breaks this week at work, I said, I'm going to catch up on these comics. And that's what I did. And I read over 20 of them just in the last 3 shifts. And it was really awesome. And the thing I was alluding towards when I was talking about Bounty Hunters 25 is I accidentally read them out of order, with the Crimson Rain stuff, and I had no idea that minor spoilers for Crimson Rain number 4. That's been out for a while though. I just read it for the first time.
It's 2 months. Yeah,
it's like 2 months. I feel like we're safe. It's been 2 months because there was 5 last month.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure the last issue just came out 2 weeks ago, but I wasn't 100.
I think we're pretty safe. If not, just close your ears for 30 seconds. I had no idea that the Knights of Ren were back and they went to Mustafar. But I read Bounty Hunters number 25, and they started talking about this stuff from Crimson Reign number 4, and I was like, what? This is like how it I mean, to be fair, that's how it feels reading Bounty Hunters a lot of the time, like what is going on.
That's true.
Yeah, but this
valid
was like
point.
kind of big, you know, like, I mean, I knew that they were back just because they were on the cover of Crimson Reign 4, but I didn't know a lot of the details. And anyways, that was just kind of funny and kind of describes why you should pay attention to reading orders in comics, and you know why what we do is like important and stuff. I learned my own lesson there for a little bit. But yeah, I feel good being caught up now, and now I gotta you know just really focus on books right now. So yeah, that's my catch up. My show and tell. I need the one cam. Hang on, let me get that. So when I saw on the calendar the Star Tours week, I just, all the memories flooded back. Like I said in the intro, I'm a big Star Tours gal. When I was a kid, I loved it, and they had a lot of like Star Tours toys and stuff. As a lot of people know, I am a collector. As some people know, I did throw away a lot of my Star Wars toys from when I was a kid, because I like Star Wars for a few years. We all know that story. But then, I regretted it. But there is one thing that I did save, and it's very relevant for this week. It's actually one of the coolest things that I own, but I don't ever display it because there's not a good way to display it, and you'll see why. Let me grab it.
All right. We're holding onto the edges of our seats.
It's a gigantic.
Oh, wow. What?
Whoa. Yo,
that is cool.
huge.
Did
That's
you buy that?
awesome.
Is that a Disney Parks?
This is a Disney
item?
Parks. Yep. And
Okay.
I remember
For
I
our
saved
audio
up-
listeners,
Yes,
you're
yes.
missing out. It is, but
You
Emma,
are.
do you want to describe it?
I will. Yeah, it's a big toy. I would call it a playset of the StarSpeeder 1000. I remember. Well, I gotta show you this first.
Like it's massive. It's like what oh wow! It
Yo,
has
that's
sliding
so cool.
doors, just like the
Yo.
ride itself, and
I
all like
don't
what
think you
5
can-
rows.
I don't think you can hear it, but it makes the like door chime,
I heard a little
Oh,
beep.
okay.
Yeah.
and then also
Oh, the little
Guns.
lights show up. Wow.
Oh, that's so cool.
I remember saving up for this for so long when I was a kid. It was like $100. And I remember just like saving up for it forever. And I went down to my basement before the show to grab it. And it was like in this old like toy chest that we have. And when I opened the lid, you can like open the top and you can put like
Your figures in there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I opened it up and I found like 3 super old 3 3/4 Clone Wars figures. No, 2 of them were Clone Wars, and one of them was Han Solo from Episode 6. One of them was Padme Amidala from Episode 2, and one of them was Plo Koon. So a random
That's
assortment
very
of
eclectic.
characters.
Yeah, I would
Um,
love to hear this, to read that comic as to how those 3 got in.
Yeah, I know. I would too. And then you can't see the inside, but it comes with like little scenes.
Oh,
from the
that's
thing.
cool.
Oh, so
And you can like stick them in and then press down on it, and it'll make like sounds from that scene that you go to.
What?
This is like one of the
That
coolest
is
things
the
I own.
coolest
It's
thing.
amazing.
wow.
And yeah, it came with like the little
Disney ingenuity and
R2D2
quality.
Mhm.
Disney ingenuity and
Yeah.
quality never ceases to amaze.
Yeah, totally agree. And there's a little compartment, and it has a little camera droid.
So you can check
They
it out. At the
spared
end.
no expense.
Spared no expense. So anyways, I wanted to show that off. It's one
That
of
is
those
very
cool,
cool.
like somewhat. I mean, it's not like old. I think it's probably like 8 or 10 years old, but still, you don't see these types of things anymore. I think it's fun to go back and take a look.
Very cool. Now that you have it out, you need to get the fishing wire out so you can
Yes.
hang it from your ceiling and give it the proper display.
I don't think people properly understand just by seeing it like this. It is heavy. Like
I said, it looks like full plastic.
it's
like,
hefty. If I threw this at someone, they'd probably be knocked out. Like, I mean, it is hefty. I mean, I do actually hang like Lego ships with fishing wire. Like I have a bunch of them like right in front of me. I think it would take a lot of fishing wire to hold this thing up, but I do want to find a way to display it. It's really cool, and it's got a lot of like scratches and scars and paint chips just because it was very well loved. So I definitely had to kind of show that off for Star Tours week.
Very
Absolutely.
cool.
Excellent.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into our main topic tonight. And before we do need to shout out Jared once again
Yes.
for leading the charge. This whole crossover kind of themed week, I guess maybe it might be a better way to put it.
Yeah.
This was I believe this was his idea, and if it
Yes.
wasn't his idea, it's been his project, so since it was decided on. So very soft round of applause to Jared there for leading the charge. And Emma, I believe you were the one who came up with this planet, who pitched this planet. So I'm going to let you go ahead and pitch the rest of the audience as to why we love Mustafar as comic fans.
Yeah, so I think each of the shows, when we were approached with this idea, we kind of wanted to pick a planet that was more geared towards what we talk about on a weekly basis. So obviously for us, that's comics. And when we were thinking about good comics centered planets to talk about, we actually boiled it down. I boiled it down to two for everyone to vote on: Mustafar and Shootaroon. And we did decide on Mustafar just because it's such a key location in all of the Vader comics, basically. And those have been huge for so many other different stories. Like, they all kind of branch out. I mean, it expands his story arc by allowing him to like meet visions and artifacts. So like you have Momin's mask, like that was a huge plot point in what was that, 2015?
2017, yes.
He's seen visions of Padme and Shmi on Mustafar, which affected him emotionally, and we never get to see that except for in the comics. He met Ochia Bestoon
My
on
boy,
Mustafar. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
I remember we all were like, what is happening?
Okay, you're right. Our
Yes.
boy.
Yes, he is our boy, sweet baby boy. I remember when he was like showed up on Mustafar, we were all like, what is this? What direction are we even going in? And then now we all love Ochi. And then of course in 2020, the Eye of Webbish Bog. So if people are forgetting that, it was going to be in I think like one of the first drafts of The Rise of Skywalker, aka the spider with the baby head. And then that baby head turned into other people's heads in Darth Vader 2015. I had a picture of it, but for some reason it wouldn't work on my computer. The baby's head turned into Anakin's head, and then it turned into Padme's head, and then Luke's head. Like, it turned into a bunch of different heads. It was crazy.
Oh no, what a terrible thing that we don't have to relive that moment.
And the Eye of Webbish Bog is actually what gave Darth Vader the Sith Wayfinder to get to Exegol, which I kind of forgot before I was flipping through to grab a couple of images and trying to figure out, like, okay, what happened here. He's the one that gave him the Sith Wayfinder. And Vader, we also get to see Vader designing his castle and like seeing it be built. That was in 2017, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. And that was like with the assistance of the Momin mask. Like, his Vader's architect like was wearing it, and then Momin, that's kind of like the what I remember from it. Which was really cool, because just seeing the reasons why Vader wanted a castle and like seeing how he used it, I thought was really cool. And then I have a picture for this moment when Palpatine brings Vader back to Mustafar and puts him back on that bank with his legs and
literally
one arm
as
cut
they
off.
found him.
Literally as they found him. And this was in the 2020 run. And then Vader has to like find droid parts to rebuild himself.
Such a great Vader story.
While he's trying to find the droid parts, he finds the dead bodies of all the people he murdered in Episode 3. Like, guys, this is insane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to say the least, Mustafar is insanely important, and especially with like all the Sith lore. There's a lot of Sith lore. Most of it comes from Mustafar, and then the real world implications too. The IDW tales from the Vader's castle, tales and ghosts and return to Vader's castle. All of those were like wildly successful and showed that horror and Star Wars do have a place together. And I think that's really awesome. So all of these reasons and more are why we landed on Mustafar for the planet we want to travel to today.
So yeah, so Mustafar is a very lore heavy planet, but Timothy, it's not just in the comics that this book or that this planet has left its mark. Where else have we seen Mustafar in? For those who might not know, the most, we obviously know the most obvious, but that's not the only time that we've seen it.
Yeah, for sure. So one interesting thing that's outside of the show notes that I remember, because I loved looking through the original trilogy art books. So I recently learned that Ralph McQuarrie actually developed first kind of the concept of Mustafar.
Really?
So he had some art, and I completely forgot to grab it. He had some art where he drew like this dark, foreboding castle on a lava planet. What? And it looked super cool. And then they didn't touch it for so long. So yeah, so it has original concepts dating back to Ralph McQuarrie, which is really cool because we love him. But it looks like the name first appeared in Star Wars Episode 1 Journal Darth Maul, which is so random. I have no idea what this is. Written by Jude Watson back in March 2000. So trying to think of, it went 20 years between Ralph McQuarrie kind of drawing a concept for Empire Strikes Back to then this happening in Word is really dope. Some notable appearances. The usual suspects are going to show up here, guys. I mean, come on. We got Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, right? Mustafar is there in all of its glory. We get Rogue One, which was the big thing. So that was the first appearance of Vader's castle proper. Doug Chang worked on a lot of that design, kind of expanding off of McQuarrie's work. Darth Vader 2017 comics, we practically lived there the entire run. The Vader's Castle series, which we'll touch on a little bit, written by Kevin Scott. So cool, a different kind of looks into the castle than you would expect, and all of that. And then Darth Vader 2020. We do
have one missing appearance on this list though.
Is it the
Lego
VR
Star
series?
Wars thing?
Okay, make it 2.
Okay. Yeah. So the Lego Halloween special, which is hilarious and is very much Benet. It is very much like a continuation of the Tales from Vader's Castle series and all of that. But yeah, then there was also a virtual reality game where you get a huge.
Let's not talk about that yet.
But we're not going to talk about
yet. Nope. Let's not talk about that yet.
I know. But anyways, it also shows up there. And yeah, so
wasn't it also in Kenobi?
It was in Kenobi.
Oh yeah.
Didn't we also get?
We also got its tidal moon. The Fortress Inquisitorius is actually in the same system.
Wait a second.
Right. That's right.
Rewind. Isn't there 2 VR things with Vader's Castle?
We'll
okay. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Okay, I got you.
Technically, I guess then, because you see Mustafar in the background of Jedi Fallen Order, I think, because you're on the Fortress Inquisitorius place, and I think you see it kind of looming.
That's true.
So it's popping up a lot recently.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's not Tatooine yet, but it is
very close.
It is certainly getting more popular.
Yeah.
And this is, I did not know this until I read the show notes. But Caleb, apparently Mustafar has not always been a lava strewn planet. I didn't know that.
Exactly. According to canon lore, Mustafar was once a lush green planet, full of life and energy and the normal sort of garden world aesthetic, but is fed by the power of an artifact called the Bright Star that sustained life on the planet. All of this lore comes from the VR game,
Vader Immortal.
I think, yes, Vader Immortal, the first one of VR games for both the people who played it. Shout out to that. But apparently,
didn't Jacob stream that on game nights?
Jacob did a game night.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll have to go back and watch it because I got all this from the Wook here. It's like, wait, really? Like, Oh wow, there's a lot of lore here in this game that
Well,
I forgot about.
And to add on to that, I think that's kind of like in terms of Mustafar used to be like this green sort of planet with trees. I think that's kind of what Tross was hinting at. Because remember, we were all like, what was that
Yeah.
planet? And we're like, whoa, it's Mustafar. Like, that doesn't look like Mustafar. I think that's why, because something with like the dark side energy.
Oh yeah.
There was
Okay.
there was a sequel to that series, that VR thing, and it gets righted. The wrong is righted. It is like no longer a cursed planet, as it were. And yeah, it's starting to try to grow again.
Exactly, because in the lore, 1,000 years ago, a Force user by the name of Lady Corvax sought to resurrect her husband using the artifact, the Bright Star, but wound up damning the world to its current volcanic state. Also in the lore, it's been surprisingly busy. 300 years before the movies, the Techno Union, the guys with the green faces.
Oh, Wat
and
Tambor.
Wat Tambor, who talks like this.
Emperor
Yes.
Zurg is
Emperor
Zurg,
right.
Yes.
I love that part
Star
when
Wars, Star Wars Emperor Zurg.
when
Exactly.
he twists his dials in the middle of his talking, he's like saying something, saying something. Yeah.
Exactly. So the Techno Union apparently owned the planet for about 300 years to mine it out.
Well, hold on. You bought the planet. Let's just let's focus on that.
Who
you know,
sells it?
Right, well, that's a very
Well,
good question.
Who lists it?
How
Star
much
Wars
money?
Realtor.
How many credits does it take to buy a planet?
Well, and the other
That's-
thing, there are native Mustafarians. Do you think they got together and sold the planet themselves, or do you think it was one of those things of like, well, I know how to get here, so I'll sell you it for?
I want to know. Like that's when
need this
I
story.
read bought the planet, I'm like, wait, hold on. I have questions, lots of them.
We need the adventures of Star Wars realtors or something.
Well,
coming to Disney Plus 2025.
Yes.
there was a subplot in the Knights of the Old Republic comic about
With
people
realtors?
buying. Well, they were selling planets on an auction. Like explorers were going out finding brand new planets that haven't been seen, and then like auctioning it off in a giant space auction.
No way.
And I guess that was part of the Halloween special too, right? Where the guy tries to sell the castle and like convert it into
that's
like
right.
like
Into
an
like a
amusement
bed and breakfast
thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so right.
Exactly.
I don't know. Sorry, I apologize.
What a
for the
strange
tangent.
tangent we just
That
went
is
But it
down.
was
a
just-
wonderful tangent.
I was very much caught up by that phrase, bought the planet. So sorry, carry on.
Yeah. Well, as I said, Mustafar apparently has an attraction for all sorts of evildoers because the Black Sun Syndicate, the Falling Federation, also built a base there on the lava planet. Also, the CIS made their last stand there in their fortress before being killed off by a young Darth Vader before his makeover.
Before his makeover, I appreciate your word choice there. Very nice. All right, so that's a little bit of the backstory of this planet. So now we wanted to spend the next little bit talking about our favorite stories. So the parts here that we're going to talk about, we're going to give one favorite story, one sleeper hit, and one weird story. Weird is up to the eye of the beholder. We don't know how weird we're going to get. So that is the outline here for this next segment.
And actually, can I suggest how we should do this? I think we should like all list our favorites. Like, so I
Okay,
go
that's
and
fine.
then
Okay.
Tim, and then kind of go back around.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with it too.
Cool.
All right. Well, Emma, then you lead us off with your favorite Mustafar story.
Awesome. Yeah, I hinted at this one earlier, but it's the one from Vader 2020 when Palpatine brings Vader back to the place of the whole high ground incident, cuts off both his legs and one of his arms, and leaves him on that bank with his legs burning. Just like the exact same circumstance, and then Vader has to like crawl around the entire planet looking for old droid, like mostly battle droid, but other droid parts to like reconstruct himself with, which by the way I love, because this shows like Anakin Skywalker is still in there, because that's something Anakin would do. He knows how to like put himself back together. That's not a Darth Vader trait. That's like Anakin, which I think is really cool. And he's, while he's like crawling around the planet, he's like having to reimagine memories from from episode 3, and we kind of see that like red tinted sort of vision that we typically get to see in the Vader comics, which is really cool. And like I also mentioned earlier, like he's crawling around looking for the droid parts, and he finds like the Neimoidian representative's body as like his skeleton, and you know all the other skeletons of the people he killed. And I just thought that it was a great incorporation of like the Empire era and Revenge of the Sith, kind of like playing homage to each other, and kind of also like playing off of each other, and that you know, knowledge of one benefits the other and vice versa. So I love that story so much, and when I read it, I thought I was gonna like pass out. It was really cool.
One of my favorite parts from that arc happens afterwards. Once he finally gets back to being fixed, I don't remember who it was, but basically we're like, they found, as Emma said, these parts are old, and like they were the whoever was putting it back together was like fascinated, because they're like, this isn't possible. Like this collection of this hodgepodge of parts shouldn't work together, let alone work to the level that Vader made it work. Like, and again, just one of those like subtle ways of showing how powerful Vader is. And it was I as you were describing that, I remembered that part from, like I said, I think it was the following arc, but yeah, just another amazing Vader story.
Yeah,
a little bit of
Anakin's in, right?
I think so. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, you get a lot of Anakin's ingenuity in that too. At the kind of him tinkering and trying to make things work. It made me think a little bit back to the Lords of the Sith book. There's a scene where he has to like fix a walkie-talkie or something like that, or he's just playing with it. And I was like, I love that he's still this like huge, you know, bulking force figure, but the man still just likes to fix toys.
You can like when those scenes occur, I can only envision little Annie building C-3PO. It's just sad.
Yep.
All right, Timothy. Let's hear your favorite Mustafar story.
So I'm actually going to stray away from the comics. Don't hate me. But
that's okay. That is allowed.
Yes.
We've talked a little bit about the story, at least. My favorite Mustafar story is the Rise of Skywalker novelization. It is in the book. It's like the opening scene, but what Ray Carson does with it is way beyond what we see in the film. And it's cool because you get, Kylo Ren is just wrecking shop, as one does when you have a lightsaber and you're angry, and you're trying to find something that your grandfather left behind for you. But so there's that, but then she kind of gives us a lot from Hux as well, and Pride and their relationship. And Hux is like cowering, and he's like looking out at Mustafar, and he's like, it's muddy and I don't want to go out there, and like it's scary and people are dying and I don't want to be out there. And meanwhile, Kylo Ren's just like whipping around with his cape and murdering dudes like it's a Tuesday. And it's just it's such a cool look. And the ending of kind of that section is getting to see Kylo go and talk to the Eye of Webbish Bog. And he has to like kind of, it seems almost like one of those, kind of like a troll situation where you have to answer, you know, the riddle just so. And basically he has to convince, you know, the Eye that, I murdered all these people, like, you know, Darth Vader set this up. I guess I'll go ahead and tell you where the Wayfinder is. But the way it's written is beautifully done. So I highly, highly recommend it, because it's a really cool kind of early lore dump that helps to set up the Rise of Skywalker. And it's my second favorite novelization of all the film novelizations that exist. She does such a good job with it. My first is Revenge of the Sith, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be cheating though.
That is the only order.
I just wanted to make sure, let the record show.
Yes. No,
that's a good pick.
100% agree with everything that you said there. Yeah, Ray Carson does an amazing job in that book, and adding a little bit more substance that that we were missing from earlier. So, all right, Caleb, your favorite story.
I think I kind of looked ahead, and it kind of curtails with yours because I think we picked the same one. But I'll start with the first part of it, and this is from the 2017 Vader run. It starts with Vader being summoned by the Emperor, and he's told, listen, you got to move out. Essentially, son, you got to move out and find your own apartment. Like, you know, he gives him, like, you pick a planet, you know, pick your dominion over that, make your home base there. It can't be on Coruscant anymore. And Vader, you know, the Emperor's kind of expecting maybe Tatooine, which would have definitely changed the whole Skywalker dynamic, I think, or maybe Naboo, but no, he picks Mustafar, the site of his greatest failure, for lack of a better term, his greatest defeat and de-arming. So he picks Mustafar. He's given a ship, and like almost like crash lands his ship in there, scarring up his Naboobian starfighter to scarred black as he, you know, sets apart and about making this his home essentially. And I just love that like intro there and that kind of dynamic. It's a really solid bit there. And Tyler, do you want to, you know, move on to your bit?
I do. So because my favorite section, favorite story, and but before I do that, are we going to assume that the end of Revenge of the Sith is not a story? Because if not, shame on all of us.
Yeah, I think it's a little too on the nose for any of us.
Okay, I was kind of surprised that not a single one of us picked that, and then I went back and reread. Okay, it does say story set there, so I guess that's a technicality. All right, then I rescind that. My favorite story is the Lord Moment arc from 2017, which again, it carries right after Caleb's story. And that is a 2017 run, issues 21 through 25. And it's because really Vader's castle, so just cool, pun intended. And to that whole story of the Sith Lord's power being locked in an ancient mask, but he's also an architect, and he taps into the planet, and it's I love that, you know, that whole element, and the fact that once the parts that make the Vader story the best stories for me in Star Wars comics is the subtle and not so subtle manipulation that Palpatine has over him. So the fact that this mask was given to Vader by Palpatine also is just another one of those, like, hey, I'm going to, you know, I've kicked you 5 million times, but let me just give this to you as a gift. And then realize, as much foresight as he had, realizing what was about to happen. I love all those machinations, all those evil machinations of Palpatine. But yeah, I just the creation of Vader's fortress is just really, really awesome, and I've loved the Lord Moment character ever since I read it. So I had to go with Lord Moment there.
Exactly. I always love that there's a full page spread of all the different times that Moment's like, no, seriously, I'll get it right this time, because he goes through like, you know, 24 different types of Vader's castles, and I love seeing like the progressive like types of people that just get the mask stuck onto it because Vader kills the original host. You know, there's one time I think he says a lava flea himself. It's great.
I remember, yeah. I vaguely remember that part, but yeah, he was such a really cool character. I mean, he was my favorite character before Ochi was introduced, because he is now my favorite comics introduced character. So, all right, let's head into our sleeper stories. So Emma, why don't you go ahead and tell us about your sleeper favorite sleeper hit?
Yeah, this category I think was the hardest one for me to pick, but I did end up going with one issue from Darth Vader 2017. It's issue number 6, and I think that this is a sleeper. You might skip over it if you're like looking for Mustafar stories, because this is the only one in the arc that takes place on Mustafar. But basically, this is like the coolest series of visions I think I've ever seen. Vader is basically he's back on Mustafar, and he's like envisioning the fight. He has a lot of visions when he goes to Mustafar. But this one is of him fighting Obi-Wan. But this time, like, the outcome is flipped. And I thought that was like the coolest idea, which I know has kind of been done before, because I'm pretty sure in the Revenge of the Sith video game you could like see what happened if if like Anakin had the high ground instead, or there
Yeah.
was something you could do that, right?
You could do that in the video game itself, and also in Lego Star Wars, the first one.
Right.
It was
That's right.
actually a really fun moment. I don't know if I'll have a chance to talk about it, but you play the entire game like co-op up to that point until the
Ah.
very last thing in the Lego Star Wars, where it pits the two of you against each other with 8 hearts.
That's amazing.
That's
Nice.
awesome. Oh my
Like
gosh,
I
I didn't know
remember
that.
hitting that moment with my brothers a couple times. It was great.
That sounds very memorable. So it was cool to get that idea that's kind of been explored in a, not so serious manner, I would say, to get that explored in a serious manner in the form of a Force vision, trying to like imagine like what would have happened if the tables had turned. And you can tell also from this issue that Vader thinks about that day a lot, and that's kind of a lot of what's driving his anger. And the other thing too, in this series of visions, he has a vision about Padme, and he has a vision about Shmi. And I remember the Shmi one just broke me. Like, just knowing that like Vader, not Anakin, but Vader thinks about Shmi is so depressing, because do you know how depressed Shmi would have been if she had known what her son turned out to be? It's just so sad, and it makes you think. And anyways, this is like a really deep issue that I'm not sure many people know even takes place on Mustafar, because it's the only one in the arc, but I highly recommend that one.
I like it.
A solid pick.
Definitely a sleeper pick there. All right, Timothy, what is
All
your
right.
sleeper choice?
We have also already mentioned this one. It is Crimson Reign number 4. And I say that it is a sleeper because I feel like we're going to get like months from now and we're going to forget this story existed, just because it kind of exists in a bubble.
Mhm.
And so I looked it up. I think it came out at the end of April. So we have a 3-month kind of thing. So I'm going to be careful, but essentially the gist of it is Kira sends the Knights of Ren to Vader's castle to steal something. And just the idea of what that could look like, it was everything and more that I wanted it to be. And there's a lot of really fun connections in this particular story. I mean, again, Soul's behind it.
Mhm.
So he loves to drop Easter eggs from all of his previous stuff. So some of the things that he's referenced, or that he wrote in his earlier comics and the other Darth Vader runs, they pop up. This is also a very quippy issue. Ren is just on one, and he is feeling it, and he is just not taking anything from anybody. And there's one point where he comes head to head with Vader. Something happens, and he utters the phrase "later, Vader," and that was one of my favorite things in the whole issue. And then like 2 panels later, he calls him a chump, and I'm like, dude, what is your deal right now?
I gotta say, this is one of the ones I read today. And when I
Yeah.
tell you, I was dying in the break room. People were probably like, what are you doing? Like, what is so funny? I'm like, this guy is a comedian.
Yeah, it is one of the funniest Star Wars issues I've ever read. But just the idea of kind of how that's developed anyways. I mean, all the other story implications of like Kylo Ren ran around with these guys, and they also were around in this time, and they were in Vader's castle, and like the small galaxy.
Yeah.
But I love it so much.
Charles
and we
Soule's
get
he's a good comedy writer, like between
He
all those
is.
crazy like quips to Vader, and then Kira's last line in issue 5, choke on it. Like, oh, so
Yep.
good.
I imagine him sitting in his study in his little cardigan and just
Yeah.
being like, what would I say? You know what?
Mhm.
I'd probably say something like later, Vader.
Later,
You know
Vader.
what? I'm gonna put it.
It's so great.
Write it down.
And-
Write it down.
And now it is canon.
Yeah.
So good. And we get to see a lot of Mustafar in it as well.
Yeah, I
That
was
they have to
surprised.
they have to figure out like how to get in, so they're like dropped outside of the castle, and then they go in through like places that were referenced in the VR game, and again like some of Charles's references pop in, and then they've got to find a way out, and it's a whole thing, but really cool. Love getting to see different peaks inside the castle. Anytime we can go in it has been really neat, really special.
I
So,
noticed the references. I mean, I haven't played the VR game, but I watched like all the cutscenes and stuff on YouTube,
Mhm.
all the story stuff, and I noticed the those connections, and I can kind of imagine Charles saying, hey Disney, I'm gonna need something for research. I'm gonna need a VR headset. Okay, let's do it.
I would absolutely play that card.
I can
Yeah.
expense this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can. Can I have the company card?
Like I need a toner, paper, and Oculus VR.
Yep.
Yeah, you throw it in the middle
This
in
is-
the middle of the
middle of the
itemized
list, yeah.
list. Yes.
They were like, only if you do more work, and that's how we got the title bump.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. All right,
Aw.
Caleb, let's talk about your sleeper hit.
Exactly. We did mention this series earlier and how it was one of IDW's most popular series. I still feel like it's not gotten the total respect it deserves. And this one is from the specifically Shadow of Vader's Castle. There's a lot of great miniseries. This one isn't like episodic. This, I think, was like a larger like trade paperback they put out. But this one, the story I want to specifically mention is the one where a young commander of the Imperial Navy comes in to like inspect the fortress, make sure everything's up to code. As he's wandering through the depths of the castle, he gets turned around, and as red noxious gas overwhelms him, his mind begins to crack as Inspector General Vinay becomes essentially the crazed person that we see, the attendant to Vader, and as we see, like, essentially his like shadowy man is totally get broken into the person that we see throughout the rest of the series. I really like that one. It's that kind of like horror of seeing someone being just transformed by the evil of the castle into something more twisted.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
You yeah, I mean, you had kind of stolen my sleeper pick because I don't really I enjoy all of the Vader comics, and so I was gonna go with just any of the IDW tales, either whether it's Tales from Vader's Castle, Return to Vader's Castle, or Ghosts of Vader's Castle. Because and they all classify, I would classify them as sleepers because they're IDW, and so people tend to miss those. So yeah, you had taken that. So that was going to be my pick, but this was also really the only area that I could probably sneak in the Rogue One scene where Krennic is choking on his aspirations. I know a lot of people hate that. I
like it.
I like
it's something
it.
Anakin would say.
It's
great.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. That is totally something that that Clone Wars Anakin would say.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way. So in addition to you stealing the already mentioning the Vader's Castle, I had to mention Krennic just choking on his aspirations.
No, that's a good one.
Kind of made me laugh. So, all right, back up at the top. Last part of this segment. One weird story set on Mustafar. Emma, we're back to you.
Yeah, this one was weird. We haven't mentioned Dark Disciple yet, but a little bit of Dark Disciple takes place on Mustafar. And it was strange. So Quinlan Voss and Asajj Ventress are working as bounty hunters, and they take a mission to rescue a Pike leader's wife who's being held on Mustafar. And in order to do so, they rent two lava fleas.
Yeah.
And then they go to a bar on Mustafar called The Last Resort. I have a lot of questions.
It's my favorite.
First of all, is lava flea really the best way to get around when there's like things with repulsor lifts and, you know, speeders and ships and stuff? Second of all, who is the smarty pants that decided to put a bar on Mustafar?
I'm sure you make a bank. There's a lot of people who
You
are
think?
very thirsty on Mustafar. Yeah.
But there's only
Think of-
like the
is
little.
Is that how the Techno Union was able to buy this planet?
Think of all the off-duty stormtroopers. I mean, they're not just, I'm not just gonna sweat in my room. No, thank you. I'm gonna go get a drink.
Although, isn't like. I don't think they've had a garrison on there yet, though.
I said that was
maybe
pretty
at that
Empire,
point, you're
but
right,
still,
you're right,
it was
you're right,
still. Well, I guess robots don't drink, but you know, someone's got to sell that Tatooine sunset somewhere.
I don't know. It stirred up a lot of questions in me, and when I read about it again, it brought back a lot of memories because I remember when I first read Dark Disciple, I was like, whoa, what is going on? Like,
well, I remember when I read it after I gone through the Vader comics, like, oh, the lava fleets. I remember that thing that Darth
you were
Mormon
like,
was on
it
that
was
one
like
time.
the what's his face, Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. What do you mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
it was
always
good.
forget. I always forget that this exists, but then as soon as I hear it, I can see that entire story play out in my
Yeah,
head. It is
I
so
know.
vivid.
Same. Well, because
And
to do the show notes,
Like they have to like scale down a wall, and like the child is
Yeah.
also there, and so they have to like. That's so much.
I mean, when I was doing the show notes, I was looking on Wikipedia to see, where Mustafar makes an appearance in canon, and I was like, Dark Disciple? Was it only mentioned by name? And anyways, so then I like went to Dark Disciple's page, and I was like, nope, this is like a whole scene in the book, and now I remember it.
Exactly. It was like,
Yeah.
you could not only can you visually see it, but you can also see it in the Clone War style.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
Like it's
Yeah,
definitely
by
that
far.
animation.
So that is definitely my weird pick, and I think
All
it
right,
deserves the
very
moniker.
very good weird pick there. All right, Timothy, what do you have for the weird pick?
Yeah, so this is only weird to me because I don't tend to do horror at all. And I was very skeptical to pick up Tales from Vader's Castle and everything there. But I was like, I'm reading everything that Kevin Scott is doing. I have to give this a shot. And just the premise. So I think he described it as, those scary stories when the van breaks down and the only place around you is a scary house on the hill. Well, imagine that your spaceship crashed on a planet and the only building is a dark, shadowy castle. And that's essentially what this is. And so there's a lot to love about the series. It's very campy. There's stories within a stories. Mustafar is the framing device of like, they're trying to get up the courage of we're going into the scary place, but let me tell you of another time when someone did something brave and heroic, and we're going to do that. And then that story always ends when they go back to Mustafar and they're like, that story didn't help me at all.
That was an awful story. Why would you bring that up? They all died.
Why would you scare me even more? But there was the final issue was kind of I think it was from Vanne's point of view, like he was the one kind of telling the story, and there was a moment where you get to see the initial time that the Mustafarians tried to raid the castle to take it back. And so it's a flashback and you get to see them on these lava fleas and like they're trying to like, run over stormtroopers, and it was really cool, or lava troopers, I guess I should say. So it's really cool stories. Definitely recommend you check those out.
I think those books do that trope the best of here's a mini series that really isn't set in this location. It's but we're going to use it as the
frame.
The frame.
And
I all of those books I think do that the best.
And the way that one ended, so Lena Graff is the primary character, and she's sister to, is it Milo?
I think so.
From the Adventures comics, the Star Wars Adventures comics. I think that's right.
Wait, Graff like yes. Xylon Graff?
Yes.
That's sick.
Yeah, go Kevin Scott.
Yeah.
So Lena at the end of it, the very last page on issue 5, she goes, that was too easy. Like we left too easy. Part of me wonders if Vader wanted us to crash here and then wanted us to leave so that we could tell people how scary this place is. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
really loved that.
Like a predetermined warning. Like, do not mess with me.
And it just builds the myth. It's really, really neat.
All right, another great entry. Caleb, what do you have for your weird pick?
This one, I came up. I think I remembered it before I saw it on the Wikipedia page. This one I'm skipping. I'm not going. My previous 2 entries were both canon and comics. This one is technically Legends and not a comic. This is the mission in Star Wars Battlefront 2, the first one, the 05 one. There's a mission where the newly minted 501st as stormtroopers arrive on Mustafar to put down a droid rebellion led by one Geyser Delso, a Geonosian engineer. So the entire story mission is based on Geonosis it's fun because up to that point you've been playing as clone troopers and mainly fighting droids, but now you've switched over to playing as the stormtrooper Imperial side, but you get one last mission to kill some droids. It's kind of fun to see like stormtroopers and dark troopers and like the Imperials fight droids one last time. It was a really kind of cool mission, a little short one. All the missions were pretty quick, but it's just a really great solid little shot through.
Interesting. I had no idea about that.
I would say, so we're talking like the original Battlefront 2, right?
Yes, exactly. The
Okay.
05 one.
Yeah, that's
To more immerse
I don't think,
narrating all the interludes.
I don't know if I played that. I'm not. I don't remember this.
In a long
so
time.
I definitely
gonna
know I
say-
didn't. I was 4.
Well, I was older than 4, so I could have played it. I just
Exactly.
I'm also much older than that, so it could just be my memory. I'm not really sure. I feel like I would have played this.
It was a great game. I love that one. But yeah, it was a short little mission where stormtroopers went to Geonos or killed a Geonosian engineer on Mustafar.
I'm pretty sure you can
Okay.
actually still get this game on like Xbox. and-
Xbox.
Oh, I think
or
so.
Steam.
Yeah.
Especially
still
if you
out
have
there.
like the Game Pass that lets you get the backwards compatibility. I can
Yeah.
almost guarantee.
Now I
that
kind of
it's
want to
available.
play it now
It's
because that
good.
sounds
Like it-
interesting.
like the mission. There's a lot of really fun missions there as you like go through like the Clone Wars and then the early days of the Rebellion.
Interesting. And Tamora Morrison can't go wrong.
Exactly.
Truth.
So I did another deep dive
Okay.
for my weird entry.
Oh, is this like a la Star Wars 1977?
No.
Okay.
No, but it's almost as weird
Okay.
in a different way.
Ooh.
Timothy, you had mentioned the VR experience game.
Mhm.
And do any of you, I remember this because this is something that was local to me.
Oh.
Do any of you remember the hyper reality experience at Disney World and Disneyland
I remember the advertisements for it. Yes.
called Star Wars Secrets of the
Secrets
Empire?
Of the Empire.
I've
This
never
sounded
heard of
so
this.
cool.
This is technically canon.
Did you do it, Tyler?
I did not do it
Oh,
because it
okay.
was ridiculously expensive.
It was expensive.
But if I remember, like
A prequel
it
to the
was-
Halcyon Cruise.
yes,
Yeah.
like I believe you put on a VR headset.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry. It was not the headset. It was what is the technology that they use on the show? What's
the
its
vol-
nickname?
Oh,
the volume.
the like the
Yes, the volume.
volume.
It
Yeah,
was
similar to that.
like the beta testing of the volume. So here is the story for one of the missions in this. And again, this is canon. After gaining intel on the Empire's operations on the planet, a small rebel force was sent by Captain Cassian Andor to infiltrate an Imperial base located near Vader's castle on the lava fields of Mustafar and steal a vital artifact to assist the rebellion. Upon infiltrating the base, the rebels discovered the artifact was a proto-saber, a precursor to the lightsaber. Despite the intervention of Darth Vader, the rebels escaped with information about the ancient weapon. So this was
Wow.
this was like a 22-minute like that's why it was so expensive. It was like $95, $100,
Yeah.
but it was like a 17-minute like video game experience. But they had it in downtown Disney Springs, whatever it's called now. And I believe they also had it in Anaheim. But I remember this event. I remember wanting to do it, and I couldn't afford it back then. But I did not know that there was a mission set on Mustafar, and it is technically, according to the Wook, it is technically canon.
Okay, I knew it was on
astounding.
Mustafar. I had no idea it had Cassian Andor. I had no idea that there was
Right?
a proto saber involved. Like I didn't know any of
Right?
that. That's insane.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I do remember
Yeah,
seeing like participants in it like had to wear like a vest or something, and it
Yes,
would like shock you when you got shot.
I do have it is a virtual Secrets of the Empire. According to the Wook, it is a virtual reality experience created by ILM and written by David Goyer for location-based VR company The Void. It opened
Mhm.
in 2017 in Orlando and 2018 in Anaheim. And yes, the players are first met in a small room, which holds a screen and provides a mission briefing, then are directed to a bay where they strap on a VR headset and backpack.
Because I remember reading some of the people describing it, and it's like they I think at some point, like you have to like pretend to be a stormtrooper or something, but like you go in and you're like on a repulsor lift or something, and you can kind of like it's trippy, and you can look around, and when you look out, like you can like touch the railing, and whatever railing that you're actually touching is like you see you grabbing that thing in the game as well, and it's like so crazy. But like
according to the book,
it says hot, and you could feel
the void platform utilizes physical sets, locations, and objects that map directly to the digital environments that guests see in their headset. So if there is a wall, guests can touch it, and if they see a chair, they can actually sit down in it.
I wouldn't trust
in addition, the Void incorporates sensory feedback like haptic vibrations, smell, and heat to bring the virtual environments and characters to life.
Dude,
that's amazing. Well, now I'm sad that I missed out on it.
I was about to say, like, and this is like lost to time now, I guess.
It's gone. Yeah, it was, like I said, 2017, 2018. So you're talking
5 years ago.
That could have even been like an alpha project for the Void.
You know, I'm like 99% sure 2017 is one of the years we went to Disney World, and I can't believe I didn't know that existed.
I vividly remember that this thing existed, and I wanted to do it, and I just couldn't, because like I said, it was
it's expensive.
$85 for like a 17 minutes game, and I'm like, I'm not per person. So it was, but so that is technically a canon story that is based on Mustafar.
That's a fun one. I think you might win. I think you might have won that. Yeah.
So yes. All right. Well, as fun as that was, we do have one more final segment before we get out of here tonight. That is going to be hopefully equally as fun, and that is what are we packing to survive on Mustafar? Its elements are harsh. So there we've got a couple of I like everybody's creativity here. Emma is listed first again, so I'm going to let you take lead here. What are you packing to survive here?
Okay, so I have one practical one. Well, they're both practical, but I mean the way I wrote it, one of them is kind of silly. I'll do the practical one first. A mask, like a breathing mask, not like a Vader mask. I mean, it could be a Vader mask, but something to protect your lungs, because there's a lot of ash. There's a lot of those like noxious gases coming from the lava and the volcanoes. You're going to want to protect. I actually Googled this. I was like, what do you pack? I can't believe I Googled this. I was like, what do you pack when you go to see a volcano? That's what I Googled, and they said a mask. Anyways, interesting. And then I wrote, and I quote, a friggin' Beskar umbrella. Because
that's so smart.
You gotta like, there's like all the lava, and then you're gonna like, because what other material is going to prevent the lava from just falling right through the umbrella? It's gotta be like Beskar, right?
Or a ray shield, I guess.
Oh yeah, or a shield.
Ray shield.
Mm-hmm.
We're smart in this.
But a Beskar umbrella is cooler.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's what I'm packing.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I like the creativity. Timothy, what about you?
All right, so the real one is I'm gonna bring like a portable repulsor lift. I'm kind of thinking like skateboard-esque design. I can strap it to the back, but if I'm about to fall over or something, I can grab it real quick and flip it under my feet and be good to go. Because any moment the ground can go out from under you. Erosion is real, especially on a lava planet, so be careful for that. And it can keep falling down. You don't want to be in that position. Do better. Also, kind of in reference to Anakin, skin grafts look like they hurt really bad. So I'm recommending that you bring some flippy floppies.
Yes.
So flip flops are valid for several reasons. One, it's really, really hot. So I'm not going to want to wear closed-toed shoes, because then your feet get all sweaty and stinky, and it's just not ideal. Flip flops allow your feet to breathe some. But if you look like you're about to go into lava, you can kick those bad boys off. That way, if you manage to save your feet, you don't have to go through all that extra pain of like getting the fabric off of you and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
repulsor
lift and flip flops, and it's very practical. Lightweight as well, easily packable in the suitcase.
Can I one up you a little bit?
Please.
I would say Crocs, because then you can put them into sport mode. You know what I'm saying?
You are correct.
Like if you need to run from like Darth Vader himself, just flip those bad boys back, and they're in sport mode now. You guys know what I mean by that, right? That's not
yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, good.
I guarantee you, it was not written in the book, but I am pretty sure that Ventress was wearing Crocs, and that little bit.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, definitely in sport mode too.
Oh my god!
All right, Caleb, What are you? What are you bringing to survive?
Well, here's the thing. This might be a little bit too much TMI sort of thing, too much information, but I sweat a lot, like a lot. So when I get hot, I just need to hydrate a lot. So I'm gonna bring a couple gallons of water, like maybe like a Camelback or something. It isn't just a ton of water. That's my main thing. I just need to hydrate.
Yeah, that's fair.
Solid.
Get one of the
Very
backpack
simple.
ones, and then
Yeah,
2 of the tubes coming into your mouth. You just
Exactly.
get like constant hydration.
exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be great. Keep that fluid intake high. That's
Yeah.
my one thing is I'd pack a ton of water.
That's smart because I bet there's not a whole lot of clean water on Mustafar.
Exactly.
not.
Like I get real picky about my water. Like whenever I go on vacation, I have to like stop by and get like a like a gallon of water, or just like fill up like all of my water bottles before I leave.
Yeah, same.
I like triple
Mhm.
filter my water at my house. I'm
like
real
you know
picky.
how Florida water always tastes like a pool. It's like that.
Exactly.
I can see
And
that.
Tyler's like, it doesn't taste like a pool.
Also, can you
Or-
imagine?
or does it? And I just have become so
I
accustomed
think that's
to
the
it.
case. Yes.
I also wonder with as sparse as it is on Mustafar, I bet it's expensive to get.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can make some
exactly.
money.
Pre-bottled.
I could
My
trade.
goodness.
Like
Yeah.
if I need to get a taxi ride, like I'll give you a liter of water for a couple hundred kilometers of travel.
Yeah. There you go.
So all of your suggestions are very practical. I kind of went a different route.
Mm-hmm.
I said, because I agree with all of you. The elements are like it's impossible to survive there. So what am I packing to survive? I'm packing my own security force, and I'm sieging Vader's
Mm.
castle.
This is very on
Because-
brand.
Yeah, that's-
I love
that's
it.
smart.
I'm gonna siege Vader's castle, and then I'm gonna hold it so that I don't have to deal with all the elements. I can just
That's
live in the
smart.
castle, and then I don't have to deal with how hot it is or with whether or not there's ash in the air because I'm inside. And I'm assuming, Vader, he might have, maybe he's got a
a
spare suit
faucet.
laying around.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's got something in there that allows him to live there. So I'm just gonna go live in the castle.
I mean,
and
in Crimson Reign 4, we see he has all that bacta. So
All that back.
yeah. So I mean, y'all can come in and out of the elements whenever you want to. But I'm gonna go
Send
inside.
you in first to clear it all out.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, that's fine.
If there was a game to be played, you definitely just won it. That was smart.
All right. Well, this has
pick.
been fun. This is we definitely went a very unique route with this. With this Star Tours idea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this was a lot of fun to talk about. But before we do get out of here this week, Emma, why don't you give everybody a sneak peek as to what's coming up on our show next week, as well as our sister shows?
Yeah, of course. Before I tell you what's coming up on our show next week, I'm gonna promote the rest of Star Tours week because it's not over, folks. It's not over until it's over, and it is over on July 20th with the Ghost crew. I am not sure what planet they are doing, but I am very excited to see. And then I'm going backwards here. On July 17th. That says 5/17, but it's July, I promise. Is the Star Wars Archives. And they are doing I believe it said Planet Hoppers. That's what the episode's going to be called. We don't know what that means.
Jared
but-
doesn't even know what that means.
No, Jared doesn't even
Ooh.
know. So we're all
Tune in.
just as excited as you are to see what the heck that is. If it's anything like anything Star Wars Archives, it's going to be incredible. And then tomorrow, if you're watching this live, it's tomorrow. If you're not watching this live, it's already happened. But tomorrow, July 14th, is Legends Lookback. And that's at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. And they are doing Yavin IV, which I'm really excited about. I hope I was allowed to announce that. But if not, I'm sorry, Jared.
It's there
Anyways,
now.
that should be a lot of fun. That's a very Legendsy choice. I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Before we move off this, I do
Yes.
want to, for those video in our live chat now and are watching this on YouTube, another shout out to Jose
Yes.
for this
Mhm.
amazing
Good call.
postcard inspired art that he's got up here.
It's amazing.
He also continues to knock it out of the park. So I wanted to make
truly
sure
does.
that we shout him out for this awesome looking key art here.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I was taking a look at this during the show, I was like, oh, I should grab this image to show everyone. And I was looking at it, and you can even see, like, you can see Coruscant, you can see Mustafar. I'm pretty sure Yavin IV is on there too. So, like, yeah, he did a stellar job. And of course, one more thank you to Jared. He seriously works so hard on all these crossover events. A lot of the work you guys don't see. It's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but I know personally I am just like so thankful to him for doing that. And I'm, couldn't have picked a better person to lead the charge on the crossovers. And I think people like them. They're a lot of fun. I know we like doing them as a show. It's they couldn't be more fun, I don't think. So yeah, that is kind of the slate for the rest of the crossover event. In terms of the Living Force, they did their episode this past Monday. Tim was on it, and they did Coruscant. I still haven't watched it yet, but I heard Wes got up to some antics. Is that true, Timothy?
He actually went to Coruscant. He showed it was so much money in such little time. It is astounding. This is one that you most definitely have to watch. You have to watch it. It's so great.
Okay, I am so excited. That's going to be awesome. And then, so yeah, they've already done their Star Tours episode, but their next episode, I know I cannot tell you what it is for sure, but it's going to be special. And I'm going to tell you all to stay tuned. So definitely keep your eye out on our YouTube feed and your podcatcher feed for that. Tease. Lastly, for us, last week we were supposed to do Mandalorians and comics. We were going to move it to this week, but, we didn't want to mess up the whole crossover thing. But it will be next week. Next week will finally be our Mandalorians and comics, which, as Caleb pointed out earlier, it kind of works out well because our original release date, it was supposed to be the exact same date as the Mandalorian #1 coming out, and then that got delayed. So now we have it out.
And we got delayed.
When we do the episode, and then we got delayed. So yeah, so it worked out. So I guess I could say you're welcome. Anyways, that is the entire slate. Yeah, thank you. Just thank you everybody for watching. It's weeks like these that feel really special to be doing a live show, and I'm just it's very, very good vibes over here at Youtini.
Yeah, this was another great crossover topic. So I really highly encourage you to make sure you catch all of the, even if if you're not up to date on all of our shows, because we do put out 4 weekly shows plus Star Wars Archives as whenever they put theirs out. It's a lot, but skip ahead to this week's worth of shows and really take some time to catch up on all these shows because they've been a lot of fun. So, all right, well, that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Cosmic Force. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the show right here on YouTube, where you can hear us live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. We also encourage you to subscribe to our audio version on whatever podcast platform you listen to. You can also follow us on Twitter and tweet at the show at Cosmic Force Show to stay informed about Star Wars comics happenings, or follow the hosts individually. I'm at Ty Rags, Emma is at Irma Jedi 26, Caleb is at Caleb Lamanek, and Timothy is at TC Guthrie 2. For reviews, articles, and news for the rest of the expanded universe, be sure to visit youtini.com. We also encourage you to join our Youtini Discord community by going to youtini.com/discord, and you can help support the show by heading to patreon.com/youtini and start receiving exclusive perks starting at just $5 a month. A special thank you to Brian Dooley, Earl Q, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, as well as Matt Billington, Elizabeth Cloutier, and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command for their continued amazing support. Thanks again to Emma, Caleb, and Timothy for hosting with me. Thank you to all of you who joined us live in the chat tonight, and thank you to our listeners wherever and whenever you are listening to us. We truly appreciate you. We hope to see everybody again next week, but until then, may the Force be with you.